Alright, who that city gonna be, Lil Wayne? Hello, welcome. This is lecture 6? I think we have 3 left. This is lecture 6 on Demian, Herman Hesse. It's morning. It's awesome outside. Shout outs, and then we're gonna talk about what you have to unlearn, the inner voice, murder, the cave metaphor, and we're gonna get to Eve, part 1. I wanna talk about Eve in 2 parts. Eve is a very important character, Ava, Eve, depending on your translation. Let us begin. So, quick little shout out to my hermanito, my little brother, Bachibuber, Muchis, a Latino scholar, distinguished scholar at UVA. Brush your shoulders off, little bro. Nicely done. Somos el futuro, man. For America, somos el futuro, man. So, nicely done, Batch. Proud of you, man. Without further ado, let us begin. I was like, what is that smoke? It's my coffee. Hold on. Crisis averted. Looking at the beginning of chapter 6, and I'm going to try to make this pretty quick. We got this Pistorius guy. I looked up Pistorius thinking there might be some meaning to it. It just is like German for like baker. Kind of like just the last name. But he tells him something important in the beginning of chapter 6, right? You have to stop comparing yourself to other people. You sometimes feel like you don't belong. You blame yourself for following a different path from most other people. You have to unlearn that. Stare into the fire, look at the clouds. When your ideas or intuitions come to you and the voices in your soul, start to seek, trust them, and don't worry about whether your teacher, your daddy, or any Lord above likes what they have to say. That's what ruins a person. Interesting point, right? You have to unlearn that, kind of what people have told you. You have to stare into the fire, look at the clouds, kind of get knowledge from different sources, ultimately yourself and kind of that inner voice. Which brings us to an important question, important point. Is this a to thy own self be true kind of moment? And I'm thinking of Hamlet and Polonius and the advice of like be an egotistical maniac. Or is it I'm quoting Frederick Douglass, I would rather be true to myself, even at the hazard of incurring the ridicule of others, than be false and incur my own abhorrence, right? It's a true to self, but what kind of self, right? Your true inner voice, like this inner articulate compass that is like, that you continue to define through experience, ultimately, through trying new things. We'll get to that. We're just a stare into the fire part, right? Through drugs, through alternate sources, through, experiences that are very difficult and trying, or is it just like, hey, whoever you want, yay, and the world will accept you, make a poster about yourself, version of, be yourself. Those are very different points. I think we confuse them in modern times, but those are very different. In chapter 6, you got this little man, Connor or whatever. He comes to Sinclair, right? And this shows that he's grown, that Sinclair is growing, that Mark has evolved to the point where people recognize it and come to him as the teacher. Notice he's been going to other people, Demian, Pistorius, even Bars could be considered a teacher, all that, right? This is the first time somebody comes to him. And, at this point, Sinclair is articulating certain points. They draw the line at murder. Notice that? And when Sinclair's like, you gotta do what you want, you gotta find your own truth. And Crowner is like, wait a minute, you mean like I can kill someone? He's like, nah, man, don't kill anyone, right? But this is the second time that murder gets brought up in this book, which is just an interesting point. A lot of my students love to ask, is he gay? Is Hesse gay? We'll get to that in one of the last lectures. Did he ever murder someone? That's be an interesting one. I doubt it, but notice all the kind of prophetic, something's going to happen, something's going to happen. It makes sense if you think this book was written in 1919. I had to look that up. It was published in 1919. It was written during like the build-up to World War I. Cool point on page 99 in this, right? It starts, even the most harmless people can hardly avoid coming into conflict once or twice in their lives with the beautiful virtues of piety and gratitude. At some point, we have to take a step that separates us from our Father and teachers. We have to feel something of the cruelty of solitude, even if most people endure too much and quickly crawl back to safety, right? Notice that, the cruelty of solitude. We have to take a step away from our Father. It's kind of a Jungian, like you have to evolve and grow and be independent. And it hurts, and when people feel that hurt, most people retreat right back. I think of Plato's cave metaphor. Interestingly enough, I just got a text. Very early in the morning for this. I love it. Not the only one that doesn't sleep. All right. Plato's cave metaphor, right? I hope you know this. It's just basically like, you know, imagine somebody grows up in a cave. This is my cave, and they got a fire in the middle, and they have their back to the fire, and so they just see shadows on the wall, right? And one day somebody opens the cave door, and they tap the dude on the shoulder, and they're like, "Yo," the guy turns around, and they're like, "Come on out." And so he goes to the foot of the entrance to the cave, and they go, "There's the world." Woo-wee! Right? There it is. Go and get it, as they say. Do you go? Would most people go? That's kind of the interesting like thought experiment in that cave metaphor. Think about it. What do you think? Do most people go or not? Right? Would you go? That's the other question. Finally, would you say you'll go but wouldn't actually go? All different points. All right. Chapter 7. Eva. School days are over. Notice like school is summed up in exactly that much. I'm done with school, I guess. Right? Cool. I guess I'm going to college now. So he goes to college, right? At this point, he's kind of wandering around like restlessly. What a strange trip it was. In search of this woman. He's looking for this woman. He's looking for his birth, his origin. Eva or Eve, which is the mother of Demian. He finds Demian again. They kind of go back and forth of like, yeah, you know, these people in bars, like, they don't know what they're doing. Like, look at those student bars or anywhere rich people go to amuse themselves. It's hopeless. This is Damian's kind of like one of his first reintroductions, right? Is that true? Is that cynicism? I don't know. When the workers kill the capitalists and the Russians and Germans blow each other to bits, the only thing that'll change is who owns whom, right? The world wants to die. It's crying out to be destroyed, and it will be. Again, it sounds a little bit like, what? Like, that's kind of like much, but it was World War I, so I think it makes sense in context of the book. And Demian is telling Sinclair, people like us were about to like unite and do something different, do something exceptional instead of die. Notice that, right? He finally like meets Eva, right? Or Damian's like, I'm gonna introduce you to my mom. And at that moment, of course, right? The sun comes back out again, right? You're saved by putting her up on the pedestal once again. Notice that. I think there's two kind of traps, well, there's several, to this kind of thinking. One, normal people suck, right? The herd, you kind of dismiss them. Two, that the concept of woman, you know, capital W, is this beautiful, perfect, holy thing. And, right, so when he meets her, blah, 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 he loses the loss of childhood, right? Enchanted, I saw it all been overshadowed and covered up. Notice that it does, like, he does recognize, again, beauty in the world through this. He's like, now I want to participate in it. Right, with tears in my eyes, I sat down, right? I couldn't speak a word. Her face is timeless and ageless. It's beautiful, like her son's. Sacred. She gave me a friendly smile. Sacred, right? She tells him that her name is Eve right off the bat, which is apparently pretty rare. And we with the mark, and then you get into all this we stuff, right? And very quickly, a few of us who joined up had this, you know, code. We recognized one thing as our duty and destiny. Everyone had to become himself, right? And Eve is kind of like their mother, their holy mother. So there's probably an LSD moment coming up. We'll get to all the other stuff. We'll cover the end of chapter 7. We'll cover the end of the book, and then we're going to cover whether or not this book is depressing, because I'm starting to wonder on that. All right, well, I exceeded. I was trying to do 6 minutes, whatever. Close enough. Questions, comments, thoughts on life? Holla at your boy. Andale pues. Enjoy this beautiful life. See you next time.